My name is John Rankin. I'm a founder member of the William King Memorial Flute Band, the Fountain area. Well, we looked at formation of the band, was just that we were just hanging around and we had really nothing much to do, and bands were scarce in the street at that time, and there was a lot of trouble going on, and we thought if we keep boys off the streets and keep them together through music and one thing and another, that would help, the area, which we think it has, and say we have a lot of respect in the area now at the minute, and we always had. A lot of support from the people.
My name's Trevor Mitchell. I live in the Fountain. I'm the founder member of the William King Band. Well, my memory is standing outside my house in the Fountain with John Rankin, a few other boys, Billy Rosborough, and we were always chatting about the 12th, saying about being stuck behind an old pipe band. Why could we not start up a band of our own, sort of thing? That was, I would say, August of '72, but it took us a few months to get everything going and everything sorted out. I think our first committee meeting was in January '73.
I'm Derek Moore. I'm president of the conductor of the William King Memorial Flute Band. I've been in from the band was being formed. I was asked because I could play. One of the few people in the band that could play at the time, probably. There was very little else to do. It was the height of troubles. You couldn't go in and out of the area too easily. You didn't go to the town. Most people were within their own areas, stayed within their own areas, bar going to school. So being in a band was just part of life and something to do at night.
Well, it was a good area. It was all wee side streets and all, and the one main street went from Bishop Street to Carlisle Road. And the only bit left that now is the lower Fountain, sort of from Hawkins Street down, but it was all the wee side street and everybody knew everybody. Doors were never locked. So just typical area. And
my name is William Temple. I reside at 196 The Fountain. Fountain was about 11 cul-de-sacs, a small area. There was about nearly 2,000 people living in it. The houses were old. Some of them were built in the 1840s. Even the modern houses in Wapping Lane were built in 1895. Social life at that time would have been limited to church activities and the memorial hall. Community spirit was one of defiance because of the troubles from the 1970s. The problem arose when everybody that had to be moved was moved, and no one was coming back into the Fountain again. Well, because of the movement of population, the community spirit that was there pre the Troubles had vanished. Fortunately, it's now coming back again.
My name is William Jackson, local resident and also curator for the Heritage Tower Museum, which is locally based within the Fountain Estate in the old jail tower. It's memorabilia from First World War right through to Afghanistan, with the top floor of the one I'm standing on now with all local culture. A lot of bits and pieces to do with the like of the William King Memorial Flute Band, which residents up here, especially ourselves, are very proud of. The uniforms that I have are actually been donated by the band from people within the estate that actually wore them. Because of where the band has come from, from what we class as a kick of Pope to melody. If you're out walking about, especially if you're in Scotland or Coleraine or Belfast or somewhere like that, at a parade, and you hear these people coming, it makes the hair in the back of your neck stand.
The bands give a light-heartedness to the Fountain. It's something that lifts the spirits of the Fountain.
And at the start, we just decided we would start the band, and we started left 5p a week around the houses. We started off and we just bought jumpers and white shirts and tabby bows and the flutes, and I say the playing wasn't too hot the first couple of times we were out, but as the years went on we progressed, you know.
Through Porter, he was a big bandsman, a fountain man, and so we went and asked him about getting flutes, you know, and he knew bandsmen in Belfast, so he sent us up to Belfast to buy from the Hillview band, Norman Hunt. And it was me and Bobby Stott went up in a train up to Belfast to get them. And when we brought them back down again, Drew says it was a waste of time, but they were no good. There were only one key flutes, it cost us £1.50.
They bought flutes at the very, very start that nobody could play. You know, as Drew Porter always said, James Galway wouldn't have got a note out on.
Well, there was a whole lot of discussions about what we'd called Maiden City Flute Band or whatever. And, just a few years before William King was killed, so we thought we'd name it after him, a memorial band after him. And then we went and asked the family if I could use the name, and lucky enough they says aye. There was a bit of rioting going on around that time, 68, and his son was down at the end of London Street, I think, and there was a bit of bother down there, and he went down to get his son out, but he got caught up in the trouble and he got a kicking and died shortly after it. It was coming up to Easter Monday in '74, and the Apprentice Boys, my branch, my club, the Apprentice Boys, asked our band to lead them on the day, and we only knew 6 tunes. So that got us out. That was our first time out. We got dedicated on the 6th of April '74. That was a Saturday, and I think we were out then on the Monday, third Easter Monday. In years gone by, you couldn't have got parading on the 12th of August unless you had a club. At that time, there was a ban on, even then, on pre-parading. So we left here one 12th of August and marched on the footpaths over to the Waterside Railway Station, and then canvassed round clubs who had nobody and says, we'll take you today, you know, if you say to the police that we're your band, then we'll get marching. So that's how it started. We got parading. It must have been in the late 70s out there, and a few years later then we struck up a relationship with the No Surrender Club. Now it was the other band from the Fountain here, the Thiepval accordion band, that took that parent club at the time. So to get round that, about 12 of us actually joined the Apprentice Boys at that time, and then voted ourselves on. And they lead the parade, or they lead the club.
a great relationship with the North Centre Club and the Apprentice Boys. They're well run, and they're really good to us. They supported us through some difficult times where there was issues about parading. In the early years, when the parades at Drumcree and Ardoyne and that were in their infancy, the police would only allow 4 parades before the main parade on the 12th. We marched from here to the Memorial Hall on the 12th morning. We had always done that, and it was classed as one of the pre-parades. And a delegation of some of the Apprentice Boys that went to the Parades Commission said that they would cancel our parade in order to get a parade in Belfast through. And we didn't take too kindly to it, and we went to the Parades Commission ourselves and put on our own proposal to the Parades Commission, and which was accepted. And as a matter of fact, the Parades Commission says it was one of the best presentations they'd ever got. So we had to usurp Apprentice Boys Committee at that time a wee bit, and relationships were a bit strained, but the North Centre Club supported us through it all at that time. And because we're in a really strategic place here, we tend to stand up for ourselves a wee bit more than probably a lot of people would like.
Well, I think we were serious enough at the start that, as I say, we were all young and we started going gears and out the wee discos here and stuff. And
we were knocking about trying to get out of going to practice. The odd time we would go to, there was a disco in the Glen up the school we went to at Templemore, and we would skive off the band practice and try and go to it, you know. There have been occasions where boys even climbed out the window of the bar where we were practicing, dropped down on the street and got away, you know, because there was 2 girls running the band at that time, collected the money. They sat at the bottom of the stairs so you couldn't get up or down. So a couple of boys got out the window and away that way.
Coming on in the 74, 75, sort of, now they were sort of wearing off, most of the boys I would say maybe, and we weren't working as hard as we should have been, and then with the tragic death of our friend then, Robert Studd, Bobby, and that sort of brought things together again, and it was a sad occasion, and the boys sort of united, and we decided then that the band had to go on, you know.
It was me and him and Billy Rossborough was supposed to go up to Belfast that day to get the flutes, but as usual Billy slept in, so me and Bobby had to run for the train then to get up to Belfast. And it was the same too when we were actually asking permission to use the name William King. It was me and the fat man went down to see the family down Fountain Place. It was one of the wee side streets off Fountain Street where the King family lived. So it was me and him went down on that too. Oh, he was sadly missed. He was a good friend.
Probably in 78, 79, right up then, and they started a contest. We started to change the whole outlook. We wanted to be as smart looking as we could, we wanted to be playing as best we could, and more or less be the best in the country, which we are today.
We had a huge local rivalry with the band from Lincoln Courts, the Sergeant Lindsay Mooney Memorial, and they got a conductor from Boviva, a man called William Douglas, a very big man in flute band circles, and he started to teach them marches and stuff. Now, we always felt that we were a better band, and when they appeared then saying that they were playing an All-Ireland contest, it didn't go down well with us, so we decided that we'd have to get into this line of two. So we approached Drew at that time, and Drew took it on, and then we contested first in 1982 in the Guildhall here in the town, and we were beaten by the Lindsay Moonies. They beat us, so we had to spend a cruel night in the pub as they paraded around us, but it was all friendly enough. But then after that, they never beat us again, just the once.
Oh, definitely the experience of coming second, even entering it, they see all our bands and going against all our bands was great. It made a difference to us and made us more determined to go ahead.
So our present day conductor, he more or less taught the band up to a certain standard. And with Drew's experience, we brought him on then with 2 or 3 weeks to go to a contest, and he brushed everything up.
I took the practice from I was 17, so I took the band from then. He tidied up the things that I was lacking in, dynamics, tuning, stuff like that there.
And they get more and more interested all the time, and within probably 3 or 4 years, he became our full-time conductor, and led us to more championships and successes, and enough, he had a great influence in the band, taught us a lot, and was very patient, and what would he say, he could join on the crack as well, he could get his point across. So he was a very big influence in the band. It's probably down through Drew that we're in the situation we're in today, where we're a top band in the country. We entered the Londonderry phase, I think 12 times as well, and we won that every time we ran it. And at the minute we're All-Ireland champions and Ulster champions at the present day.
It gave us something else to focus on. It created better flute players in the band because we were being judged by other people. Although we were being judged fairly harshly in them early years, a lot of the adjudicators weren't overly happy about bands like ourselves being involved, and they tended to think that we couldn't do this or couldn't do that. But it changed over the years as things progressed, It wasn't so bad for me. I could read music and stuff, which was a great advantage over a lot of them, So like our band, even to this present day, less than a third of the boys would be able to read music. The rest of them can follow it, but most of the stuff that they're playing is on their head, So it's quite an achievement what they do.
I'm John Little. I'm a member of the William King Memorial. I started off as a member of the Orange and Blue many moons ago, more years than I would care to remember, and I just got to the stage where I felt that I needed to better myself in my fluting. Due to the family connection with my Uncle Ali, and it just was the fit for me to join William King. I wouldn't have thought of joining anybody else at the time. Alistair taught me to play the flute from a very, very young age. It takes up a lot of your time, and it's more of a family than anything, because you know everybody and you get to know everybody.
You playing B there, Chris? Yeah.
A lot of people that come to the band very rarely leave. You look at the length of time some of the members have been in it from the very start. They're still hanging about.
Okay, fine. This side right through. This side right through.
You do need experienced members within the band community to bring people together, and sort of somebody to look up to sort of show you the ropes, and then hopefully they're passing that down to the likes of us so that we can carry it on. At the minute I'm learning to read music, which I've never done before in my life, and alright, it's taken me a bit of time, but I will get it eventually. And to me it's just completely different. It's a completely different world from what I was used to.
Before we went to London, it started off as a bit of a joke as well, and was actually our lit conductor, Drew Porter, said that the apprentice boys was looking for us to go to lead the parade in London, and one thing led to another, and it ended up we did go. But very, very tiring weekend, but very good crack, you know. We left here at 5 o'clock on a Friday night, and we arrived in London, I think, about 1 o'clock the next day. We get changed in a tube station, and we done the parade through Trafalgar Square, and we were finished about 5 o'clock. We get back in the tube station, get changed again, and we had 5 hours in London before we got the bus home at 10 o'clock the same night. And we went back here at 5 o'clock the next night, so it was quite tiring, you know.
Parading through London was brilliant. But you know, the big tall buildings and all just made the sound of the band excellent.
And after the parade, there was only a few spare hours we had, and so the boys all got together and headed up to Soho to see the bright lights and I would say bars. Only most of the boys in the band, you know, wouldn't have been drinking at that time. But part of our time was spent playing with the Church Flute Band as well. And we would have went, first year we went to Limerick with them, did the marching bands competition down there, and we got in contact with the people that organised that, and then a few years later our own band were invited to go to Limerick. So there were bands there from Nova Scotia, America, all over, but we didn't win anything. But the overall experience was really good. And at that time it was very ironic, because on the parade in Limerick on the Sunday, at the judging part of it, 500 metres, there's about 10,000 people with tricolours saying, "Play the sash." And when you get back home to parade on the 12th, there's 50 people in the street standing. Not that we ever play the sash that much anyway, but it was just the irony of the whole situation was magnified by the difference in the attitude of people watching a marching bands contest, and the people watching marching bands where we are here, where there's not that same perception of what you're there for. I mean, to us it's mostly music anyway. We don't spend £30,000 getting ourselves out every couple of years to go out and offend people in the street. It's just our practice twice a week, 52 weeks a year. It's just not what we're about. My father was in the committee of the Royal British Legion for a long time. They were let down. The British Legion were let down on an issue of money, so we were asked to do it. At the start, it was a bit difficult. We hadn't really got the repertoire for the length of the parade and the standard of the music that they wanted, so it was mostly marches and hymn stuff and all that there. So it took a few years for us to get into it, but and for all that time we never took any money. We resubmitted our funds back into the Poppy Appeal because it was a great honour to do it. It is a great honour to do it. One of our biggest assets from day one has been our piccolo player, Ali Little. He would be sought after by the top bands in the country if they could get him. He was in the band when he was 13 or 14, he played the cymbals, and his father always said that he get up for school and practice, get home from school and practiced. And so as I say, Drew latched on to the sort of skill that was about it, the top ended. And when we would contest or when we would do concerts, he would focus on that playing. He would arrange tunes to suit that, to suit the style of players we had. We were playing stuff like Sibelius and the Londonderry Fish in the 1970s, sort of unheard of. Well, the first recording we made, we did it in Randallstown, and its day it was very good. And then when we came to record the CD, Death or Glory, we recorded it with Rory Donaghy from Blast Furnace. We recorded the most of it in the Memorial Hall, and our main practice place, and we did a few of the tracks up in the studio up at Craig in there. Rory allowed us into that process of the mixing and the mastering and stuff, and that was quite useful and quite good.
So for our 40th anniversary, which was this year, we recorded another CD. We were to call it Band of Brothers because we're all very close in the band and we're just like one big family. But then after the death of Drew, we dedicated the CD to Drew and we called it Our Director.
Drew's son was my best friend. I went with him to the Churchill band, and Drew taught us. He taught the learners. Very patient man, so he was a great person to know.
Today's we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the band here in the Fountain. I'm glad to see everybody here. We're having a good time, hopefully, and everybody's enjoying it. It's just sad that some members that are past and aren't here with us now, good friends, and we're just sad they're not here, but we're having a good time. It's been a long 40 years sometimes, but it's been enjoyable, making good friends and playing music.
Very surprising. After 40 years, I don't know where they went, but as I say, whenever we started out in 1973, it was a different band then, and as I say, we never thought 40 years down the line we'd be still going, but we've kept a good group of fellas like you are in the area, and with support of residents in the area throughout the years, we've been able to survive.
They presented the older members of the band. They have a presentation which was quite a surprise and very welcome. It was nice to get it. To get a bit of recognition for services rendered.
It's just a big congratulations to these boys for bringing the band through some great highs and some difficult lows, but we're still there and we'll go another 40 years again. Thank you.
major of the William King Memorial Flute Band. I joined the band in 1973 in the offset as a flute player, believe it or not. But when the band changed its style and appearance, I was promoted to drum major. Now, in 1984, I left the band, and after a 16-year vacation, I was enticed back, because you can take the man out of the band, but you can't take the band out of the man. And during those years, I may stress, I never considered, nor would I ever consider, joining any other band, because when you've marched with the best, there's no replacement. It's a great sense of pride to be marching in front of the finest bunch of musicians I've ever encountered. Today has been a great occasion. It swells the heart to see so many people still out supporting the band after all these years, and seeing the band being able to sustain itself with younger members coming forward. And you can see for yourself from today, many visitors that we've had coming from all over the UK to visit us here today, and the support from the people in the fountain has been fantastic, not only through 40 years, but today especially.
My name is Alistair Simpson. I'm one of the residents of the fountain. I've been here over 50 years, and I've been here from before the Troubles started, and I've watched the young fellows of today. I'm bringing the William King Band to the standard it does today. It was when they told us at the very beginning that they were starting a band, they were only young boys in their early teens, and of course we wondered what was going to happen. But it's funny how diversity changes a situation over, and a community that has been torn apart all over the years, where the young boys started coming together because William King was killed here during the start of the Troubles, and they got themselves together. They have called themselves the William King Band, and now at the present time they've got the very high standard of not only here in Londonderry, not only here in Northern Ireland, but all over the British Isles.
I'm Billy Stewart. I'm past president of the No Surrender Club Apprentice Boys of Derry. I'm actually from the fighting area here. I remember this place as a youngster and what used to go on here. The William King Band obviously has been important to everybody in the fighting since I've been a kid and growing up when they first started up. It's great to see them celebrating their 40 years here. From an apprentice boys' point of view, they've actually led the No Surrender Club for well over 30 years now, I think about 32 years, and do so with the utmost discipline. And the fact I have no doubt whatsoever, they're actually the best melody flute band in the whole United Kingdom. So William King have been pivotal in keeping the young people in this community out of trouble, giving them a focus in life, and learning the music to an extremely high standard. And as I say, I don't think there's any band I can think of in the UK within their type of band that actually comes anywhere near them. And this festival they put on here today is actually fantastic. I was just commenting to some of them, it's the first time I remember the community being back together on the streets, as it used to be in the 11th night in August, etc., since way back in the late 60s and 1970s. So it's a tremendous day for me, and I'd love to see this continue in future years as well.
The first time that I felt proud of the William King Band was at the time that the apprentice boys took me over to London for the name change, when the Londonderry Corporation was getting changed to Derry City Council, and they played the Prince of Wales tune, which is the tune for the city here, Londonderry. And I felt very proud for them at that time, and I realised then that they were serious in what they were talking about doing, and from then on they have gone higher and higher in the standards. And as you can see, the outturn of the other bands here today, just to thank them for the work that they have done over the years.
a very big role to play in the community, I think, because I say it's the most respected group in the area, as far as I led to believe. And we're not competing with anybody, we just want to work for the good of the area, for everyone, not just the group. Our band itself, everybody that works in the band, the conductor and all, there's no money passed on to it, so we're not looking to make personal gain out of it. We just want the band to be successful, and we want the area to be successful. Well, the fountain has changed quite a bit throughout the years, and the population gets smaller again, but hopefully in the future that there's a regeneration programme that's just now started, and maybe get something done about the derelict houses and get them refurbished and hopefully get the area regenerated again.
The William King Memorial Flute Band, Londonderry.
On August alone, through the tattoo, the lads was between practices and parades, and the tattoo itself, they've been working 23 nights on August alone.
The band was very busy, and thank goodness we had great support from all the members. They turned up every week. It was great.
And we played in Cashla, with Ratafast and Emerald bands. See, people's under the illusion that bands are a one-sided sectarian thing. It's far from it. Them contest bands come from everywhere, all over the world, in fact. And everybody gets on great. It's all about music and keeping people together.
But no, highlights, as we were saying before, the first contest, and that highlight, and then won our first contest, and then that All-Ireland competition, we won it 7 years in a row then. That sort of took everybody by surprise, I would say, around the country. But then, after all that, and all the success we had over the years, was in 2006, we won band performance of a day in the All-Ireland Championships, which for a melody band like us, nobody has ever done it before, and it was just the icing on the cake for me.
Camaraderie about the band and the people in it. It's sort of hard to explain if you're not on it, but it's a friendship thing that never dies really, and we're very friendly with people in our bands as well, from Belfast, Scotland, all over.
And what a fitting way for the William Kings to celebrate their 40th anniversary. And we are delighted that they could join us here at the Tattoo. I'm certain it won't take 40 years for them to find their way back again.
Clear stories. I'm not going to repeat them on camera. Oh, we had some good times now, and good friends, which is the most important thing of the whole lot. Very good, trustworthy friends, and people that you could rely on if you needed them, and it's still much the same today.
I mean, to me, it's always been about the friendships. It's not about you. We've won enough. The winning's not a real issue to me. If we play well, I'm more than happy. If we're beat, then we're beat.
Well, we have a good, strong core of members there. There's every night we have a practice, rehearsal. There's 20 flutes sitting there. And so that's just keep going, because we're only going to get better.
Quite good, fellas. Thank you.